I'm going to call this meeting to order, and we have the minutes of August 10th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of August 10th.
Second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Moving on, we have warrants 4 and the payroll 4P.
I'll make a motion to approve bills for payment warrants 4 and 4P.
Second.
Okay. Let's see, any discussion? Let's see, warrant 4 is for $134,005.57, and that went primarily to social service allocations, other allocations that were voted on the town meeting ballot, the fire department, money into the capital fund, and there were also payroll transfers and insurance. So, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Here we are for ARPA funding.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the following projects to begin or start the bidding process: the community center for their fuel cost and the town office for their mini splits.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Let's see. Okay, I can let the town office know.
You want me to talk to the community center and have them send the invoice over to Charlotte for the $3,500, because that was prepay on the oil, they've already paid it.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
great. All right, let's see. We were going to have Maeve Jenks to discuss
Somebody's just pulling it
the
now.
recreation board, so maybe I'll just talk a little and then see what happens. And I know Katie Bird wants to speak about an article. Let's see. Well, how about we go, let's circle back, unless, Gail, is there anything you,
Well, I want to talk about ARPA, maybe discussion further in your agenda. It's not about funding, but the process on who checks should be made out to, who signs the contracts, and some guidance there. Because I don't know if you've had some communications with Charlotte,
Right.
and she's shared a couple very minor thoughts and said it would be talked about tonight. So is that going to be under your discussion a little bit later?
Yeah.
I'll wait
Yeah.
for that then.
Okay.
Thank you.
great. Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Okay. Let's see, Katie Bird? Did you, we're waiting for Maeve Jenks, but in the meantime, would you like to, I know you wanted to speak about the article Declaration of Inclusion.
Yes.
Would you like to speak about that?
Well, I have sent the Selectboard a fact sheet about it, and I wonder if you have any questions. Or if anybody needs a fact sheet.
We have an extra one.
I do for you, Gail.
And actually,
Oh, you
because this
do?
is being
Okay.
televised and people watch this, why don't you explain a little bit what this is about? So that the general audience that might watch this can learn more too.
Okay, is there a microphone?
Oh, yes, I think you can sit.
You just speak here, it'll pick you up.
Okay, all right. Well, the Declaration of Inclusion is something that resulted from, well, I can read this because, let me just read it if we're educating the public.
It's in the flyer to and back.
Oh,
Okay, so in the fact sheet I say, at this time of social and ideological upheaval, we can step into who we are as Vermonters by giving our attention to what keeps our communities strong. We can recognize how our values lead us to the common ground of service, civility, fairness, neighborliness, deliberation, and support of one another. We can act with goodwill and common sense to keep ourselves, our families, and our community healthy in mind and heart. Throughout the state, organizers are considering declarations of inclusion, and I'll call them DOIs. These are statements that affirm values we share as Vermonters. The DOI adopted by Dummerston Cares, that Bill Schmidt and I represent, it proclaims, "We welcome all persons, regardless of race, color, religion, national origin, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, age, differing ability, economic status, and education. We commit to fair and equal treatment of everyone in our community. We value respectful civic engagement in all forms." So that's what we proclaimed in March, and then we tightened it a little bit maybe in May. And we are hoping that other organizations in town, particularly the Selectboard as a civic organization, will adopt. And I was talking about local support for the Declaration of Inclusion in the greater Brattleboro area, other declarations similar to what I just read, though they're tailored to their organization's missions. These have been adopted by the Dummerston Congregational Church, the New Fane, and the Putney Select Boards, All Souls Church in West Brattleboro, and the Brattleboro Chamber of Commerce. And then more declarations are in process around Windham County, which I'm working on a team to promote, and then throughout the state. And so, anyway, there are pieces in the Brattleboro Reformer that were published. One was taken from the Rutland Herald, and another one was by the Reverend Lee Sparrow. And you'll see references to those in the fact sheet that I handed out. And then the history of the Declaration is that after the death of George Floyd, 2 justice seekers in Rutland County, Bob Harnish and Al Wakefield, sought a way to energize Vermonters in broad public support for diversity and inclusion among Vermonters' residents. The goal of these efforts is for town governments, civic organizations, and faith communities in Vermont's 246 cities and towns to proclaim a Declaration of Inclusion. The Vermont League of Cities and Towns supports the Declaration, and currently 64 towns with 44% of Vermont's population have adopted declarations through the League's leadership. In May of 2021, Governor Scott proclaimed a Declaration of Inclusion and declared the second week of May henceforth to be Inclusion Week. And then there's a link to that as well. And the Vermont Chamber of Commerce proclaimed a declaration stating, "To attract more people to work in our state, we must position Vermont as an attractive place to live. Ultimately, recognition for statewide adoption of the Declaration of Inclusion will help to achieve this." And there's a link to that as well. And finally, Vermont Interfaith Action, which is a group of faith-based communities that works for social justice, is advocating this. And Vermont Interfaith Action Southern Vermont organizer is Mike Rowicki, who's also our Wyndham 4 representative in the Vermont House. Mike is working with a team of Windham County volunteers to engage the select boards, civic organizations, and faith communities to approve the declaration. And this is ongoing, and I'm a member of that team. And so my request is for, through Dummerston Cares, we ask that the Dummerston Select Board join us and others in town by crafting its Declaration of Inclusion and thereby promoting the best interests of our town.
Okay,
And I'm open to questions.
yes.
Well, when a town adopts this, when a select board adopts it, a number of them have done, what has been their process? Do they give the citizen, the residents an opportunity to weigh in on that?
Well, I don't have a comprehensive history of that. But for instance, I think it was Newfane, they just adopted it. And I think there may have been some preliminary discussion about this. Putney, for instance, has an equity and inclusion committee associated with the town governance. And they had a chance to discuss this. And they had the core of what I read to you, but they added more to it because that's who they are and what they value. So, so anyway, there could be discussion. Other towns just say, well, this makes sense, and the select boards will have a time to learn about it, maybe deliberate about it. There's no rush to do it, except of course, maybe the rush that we want to be promoting this at a time when, at a time when people, you know, may be hungering for some statement of solidarity with our Vermont values. So, you know, that might be the urgency of it. But certainly, due process is encouraged, and so I have a bunch of stuff here from the League of Cities and Towns from their website, and you know, I could give a tutorial, I don't know, once a week for an hour on how to do that. I serve on a board with Bill, so he knows of whence he speaks. I don't have to do that.
Well, okay. Thank you very much for filling us in. What do members think?
I'm just wondering if this would be more appropriate to have as a resolution at town meeting so that all the residents have a voice in this and for the support. You know, and so we don't represent everybody's voices, but they can come together and, you know, because let's hope, we're crossing our fingers, we'll actually have an in-person town meeting this year.
Yeah. Well, I will say that, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, I was working on a declaration of compassionate community.
Right.
Yeah.
And so everybody
Yeah.
accepted that. I think what I did was the first year I called, well, I said that was my intent at new business, I guess it was, other business. And then I talked about it, and then we had 3 meetings for anybody who was interested to come and listen about it, to craft a declaration, things like that. And then a year later, I came on the floor and I read it, and it was adopted. So in a way, that's already been done. I'm sorry that, well, in my computer, I guess I have that resolution that I could pull out if you're interested. So what I'm saying is that there's already been a precedent for the town accepting something kind of similar. The difference being that this I don't know, it's you know, kind of an agreement of compassion, a proclamation of compassion. Other areas in the state or in the county, they adhere to a more doctrinaire rendering of it based on a website that had a more of a faith-based than a morals-based declaration, and then it required that a town partner with another group probably out of the country, just to have a cultural exchange. And then that we had to do stuff to proclaim our work for compassion. We'd have projects, things like that. And
Let me interrupt here.
Would it not be a more powerful statement if this were a resolution at a town meeting, assuming that there's no, real rush to get it approved? It would seem to me that if the whole town is voting on it.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking.
Brought up, as with the compassion resolution,
At the
it
end.
was a resounding.
Right,
Yeah, because my take on it is all of these values are personal values that I, strive to live my life by. So, but I'm not comfortable forcing my values onto somebody else as a member of this board. So if it was brought before town meeting and the voters could decide that this is how they want to live their lives, and not me saying to them or us as a board saying,
right.
this is what we as a town are going to be doing. It seems a little more compassionate to let the individual decide what their own personal values are.
Yeah.
That's my take on
I
it.
would agree with that.
Yeah, I think it would be, rather than the four of us telling
Right.
everyone.
And especially if the resolution was worded in such a way where it wasn't necessarily the select board saying, this is what we want to do. It would be more coming from a standpoint that we as individual residents.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
as the community.
As a community of
Exactly.
Dummerston,
Right.
yes.
Right.
This is how we want to.
Yeah, Bill.
well, there is,
Wait, I just recognized Bill Schmidt, so.
I would only like to suggest, if it's to be taken up at town meeting, could the select board put it on the agenda, on the warning? If you're supportive of the town considering this kind of statement, it would seem appropriate that you could put it on the agenda over against our having to go out and get signatures.
No, you wouldn't have to, if we do it as a resolution, you don't have to get signatures, and we also don't have to pay to publish it, the legal warning. It
Exactly.
makes it a little more concise, or an extra page in the other. So you wouldn't have to, it would just be brought up at town meeting. And, you have an opportunity to stand up and give a concise presentation and let people vote.
well, the hope from the League of Cities and Towns is that we will have, or that the League will have all the select boards in the state adopt a declaration of inclusion as a way to say that this town, these are the values of this town. We support all these identities that we've listed, and so the hope is that there is this civil support. For instance, as I said, the State Chamber of Commerce and Brattleboro Chamber of Commerce, they just think this is such a strong statement of invitation to people to come to town to feel safe, to come to Vermont to feel safe and included. And of course, we know that there are many more jobs open than there are filled right now because we don't have the population. So this is a way to draw people who may have differences or think that they aren't welcome. Someone who's not, say, as wealthy or as educated as the next person, say, well, what do I matter? Or someone who has a differing ability, what do I matter? Whatever. And this is to say, everyone's welcome, and we're standing by this through our civic organization, our select board. So that's why it would be important for the select board to present, this is what we are hoping, this is what we are supporting. If you can support it as a select board and then put it out to the vote, that's fine. I would be happy to speak to it as I'm doing now, however you decide it works. But to have it be with the select board, from the select board, has much more strength and appeal, and strengthens this whole effort for the state of Vermont. Governor Scott.
I tend to think that the select board is, I think the town meeting is much more, speaking for the more of the community, rather, the select board might try, but it's the town meeting and the voters at town meeting that are the horse pulling the cart. I sort of think the select board is getting
You're saying 300 people saying, yes, we support this is more than the 4 right here that are sitting here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I understand that.
Yeah.
That I understand that the 4 of you don't want to be the ones speaking for the town. I'm just saying that to have 300 people support it, that's wonderful, and then you're very affirmed, and the town is affirmed in its inclusion. And to have this as part of the select board's ethos is what's important. Perhaps have it on, at the bottom of stationery or something like that. But just something that the town says, we believe in this. This is more the hope. And if it takes going to town meeting, by all means.
Well, I think that we have to, if you're asking the select board to endorse it prior to the town meeting and present it as something that the select board is recommending to the town, is that what you're suggesting?
Well, that sounds like a good recommendation. Or it could say you could say based on the town's support of this, we will then adopt it as a select board, if you'd rather do it that way.
Yeah, maybe that's the way.
I think I would go the other way. I'd rather have the
Me too.
townspeople.
Townspeople, and then
Yeah.
they can ask that
Right,
the
right,
town of Dummerston.
yeah,
Because as I said, these values are very personal values.
right.
And my values might differ from your values or yours or anybody else's sitting here. And they might differ from mine. And I don't want to make the assumption that everyone's going to, take on my values.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah, I think
just for the sake of inclusion, I think I hold myself to pretty high values, and I just don't think that it's fair to expect other people to take on my values.
Well, I appreciate that, Marie. And I also think that so much has changed over the years in how we have become more inclusive. And I think stronger in that way, more neighborliness, more mental health, etc. And so with a sense of inclusion, people can be very hopeful and and more accomplished. They can do more. So I look at it not as saying, oh, accept my values, but oh, listen to what we're recommending. Let's discuss it and see how far we've come. And how we become more aware of the differences that people espouse. For instance, racially, this notion of systemic bias is something that people would say, well, I'm not racist. But then when we do have systemic bias because it's our culture, and if we have a culture that is more isolated and we aren't mixing with other people, we aren't learning from them, then we don't have that opportunity to grow wider in our acceptance. So where we're not saying accept my values, we're saying please come into this conversation, please come into this hope that we can expand into greater inclusion and greater strength and greater appeal to draw people here to a broad community.
Okay. I think if I get the sense of the board that we'd like the town meeting to
present
Do a
a resolution
resolution.
to the town
Yeah.
meeting
Town meeting,
for
and
discussion and vote.
and then have the town legislative body adopt this as
Exactly.
policy. And I don't think, so we're not saying no or discouraging,
Right,
but
right.
we're just saying that it would, in our opinion, would be a more powerful statement
Right.
if it comes from the community rather than
Exactly.
from the community up rather than from us
Down.
down. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
So,
And in the spirit of inclusion, we want everybody to be
Yeah.
included in
Included.
the process.
Yeah.
And that is how,
Exactly.
that's what this select board believes in,
Right.
you know.
That's fair.
okay.
Okay, I'm going to write my understanding of what we've discussed and I'll submit it to you. And you can tweak what I say, but I just would like to have an understanding of how to go forward and how to report to my team
Sure.
in Wyndham County about how this is progressing.
Great.
Okay,
Very good.
thank you.
Any other comments on this? Okay, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Explaining that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll see you at town meeting, if not before. Okay. So, Maeve Jenks, you're
Hello.
here for the Recreation Committee.
Yes.
And you sent us proposals for using some of the ARPA money.
Yes.
And we just wanted a little bit more information. It was a pretty good shopping list, I think.
It was, yes.
Exactly.
I was like, okay, you want to hear what we could use some funds for? That sounds great.
Yeah.
Right, and, I was sort of interested in, if you were to prioritize things,
Sure.
and if you had any idea of what resurfacing the soccer field would involve, but take it away, Megan.
Sure, all right.
Sure, it's yours.
All right. I brought this conversation. Keith Marshall is the other member of the board right now. It is my fall goal to recruit more people because Keith is ready to phase out, and I am not, because I'm a preschooler, so I'm on the hook for another 7 years.
Yeah, or 12 years. So you'd like people who might be interested in serving on the recreation board, which is a really enjoyable board to be on,
Yes.
to get in touch.
So I have asked, now that we do like electronic signups, the Google Forms, and so I put it out there with the sign up for the child, would you be interested in joining the rec board? And I actually just got those out today, and I'm getting responses back, and I've gotten about 6 yes, yes
wonderful.
/ maybes. I was pretty written when I wrote it. I was like, do you want your children to continue to have youth sports? Then yes, you would like to get more information about
we
joining the
should
rec board.
consider
Yes.
having you write for our planning commission.
DRB and everything else we need. Select board assistant,
I'm sorry. So Keith and I got together, we talked about like what a wish list might look like. Absolutely, I can prioritize some of these. It was really just, oh, we've talked about this and what about that? And, when COVID started, we had just finished the 2019 basketball season. We didn't do a baseball season. That following fall, we didn't know what was gonna happen with school. We were trying, it was the 2 days a week, two days for half the school, 2 days for the other half. So we wanted to be able to do soccer. We didn't know what that was gonna look like, masking, distancing, how can we be safe? We didn't know how long it was gonna be able to last for, so we didn't ask payment from anyone. So we haven't, and then that continued, we didn't even attempt to do basketball last year. That was really overwhelming, how can we do this safely in the school? Kids can't distance, so, playing basketball that is, I don't mean to say that they didn't successfully distance. And then same with, we did a baseball season, we didn't know exactly how it was gonna end up, we didn't have great numbers, and so that's been about 4 seasons that we haven't taken in any income, as a board. We would charge $20 for an individual participant, $30, and so we just haven't had any funds coming into the rec board, which I didn't, do any math on, but it definitely hinders what we can look to kind of add and get new jerseys or get new equipment. We're constantly needing new balls or first aid kits, all of those things. So that kind of made us reflect on what are our goals? What big things would we like to see accomplished? That winter that we didn't offer basketball, we really wanted to be able to offer something outside, and so I tried to get an outdoor skating rink to happen, and we did. We used rec board funds, we bought one of those temporary rinks, and Carrie Newton and the fire department, they set it up and they filled it, and Lance Nieper was helping to clean it, and there was a whole crew of people that was able to step up and try and make it happen. And it did. There were some families that utilized it. We got overwhelmed with how do people sign up for it, and so the skating rink liner got ripped and cut, and so we weren't able to reuse it. But we still have a lot of families who are very interested, and that really prompted us to look at other communities around us. There's a rink that Westminster has been able to set up that is just wonderful. I mean, they have lights set up. It's not like just a liner like we had originally gotten. And so that is one of the items in here is this build your backyard ice rink. It's designed to be able to be taken down every single winter, stored, and then set back up. It is not just a plastic liner. As you can see, there's many factors involved in it as far as it's gonna have boards. This also ties into getting the electricity put back to our rec shed, which is another item on that list. We moved the rec shed, which I'm actually really excited about. When you drive into the school back parking lot, the rec shed used to be kind of tucked around the corner, over by the playground in the school, and now it's the first thing you see when you drive in. We have our concession stand there, but it doesn't have any electricity right now because it got moved away from the building. There is electricity nearby, we just have to get it run back into the building and connected. So the school is also using part of that rec shed. And so they are able to pay half of that cost, and they're hoping that the rec department will pay the other half. From that, we'd be able to also then set up lighting for the skating rink. So it kind of coexists, those two items in my mind. I mean, yes, electricity to the rec shed is, we can't operate the concession without it. And now that it's moved closer to all of the fields, I think the concession is gonna get used a lot more. We were only really using it for baseball season because it was next to the baseball field. But now that it's moved out near the soccer field and everything, so that's my big hope for that, is being able to not only get electricity to the shed, but then we can use that electricity for lighting for the skating rink, because the skating rink would be right in the field in front of the shed. Because that was another kind of dilemma, right? It's dark at 4. So when can people, unless it's a weekend, it's just hard for families to be able to get there and utilize the skating rink. So putting that much money into a skating rink for only being able to use it on Saturdays and Sundays, if you don't have lighting, doesn't feel effective. So that's, in my mind, that's a big ticket item that I'd really love to see happen. I think that it brings a whole new element to be able to provide an outdoor sport and activity to people of the community and the kids and adults. I used to figure skate. I grew up figure skating with the Brattleboro Skating Club, and I stopped when I graduated high school, and all these years I haven't gone back on the ice because I just feel nervous and anxious about going to the rink, and there's all those people there. And so just this past year I finally went during like an adult skate time, and I just fell in love with it all over again. So I'm all that more committed to having a nice fun little skating rink that is just quiet, and we can go with the kids and just fall and be okay about it. And so I think that it's a great opportunity for people of our community to be able to go and just not feel the pressure of the rink and all of that. So that's, like I said, the electricity to the shed is a big item that I would definitely like to see happen. And the ice skating rink is a really expensive line item that I would really love to see, especially it's winter in Vermont, I can't reopen Maple Valley for us as much as I would love to, but skating in Vermont is something that I think should happen. So, as far as I'm trying to pinpoint the most important things, so those kind of go along with each other. Definitely electricity for the shed, and then the skating rink. Next is, the soccer goals. It's one of those things that we've been wishing for years. We know that they're an expensive item, and so we've bought, cheaper ones just that can get us through. And so if the funds were available to be able to get us some really great soccer goals that can come down easily, they have wheels, they can move easily. Right now, if we have to move the soccer goals, it takes at least 4 people to lift both sides, all 4 corner sides and everything. And we have broken pieces that are missing, and so that soccer goals, that's why we're asking for all new goals. And then I guess the next 2 that I'd really be looking at is the aluminum bleachers and the portable picnic table areas. The bleachers, what I love about that is we have one set of bleachers over by the soccer field, and we have a permanent set that rests by the baseball field. I would love to be able to see a set of bleachers that we can have that can move, so that's what this quote is. They're aluminum bleachers, they're light enough, we can have them over by the soccer field during soccer season, which we actually have 2 soccer fields, and so it can be one on one field and one on the other. We can also then bring it over so that it's near the home side of the baseball field, because the bleachers that we have now are on the quote-unquote away side of the baseball field. We've always, whenever I've been coaching Little League Baseball, all of the parents sit over by the parking at the end of the outfield, basically, which they feel safest, and that kind of is a segue into the dugouts and fencing, which is not a priority. It was one of those, if I'm throwing together a wish list, this is on it. So, you know, parents always felt like there's no fencing area to keep you safe from any stray balls. The teen benches that we have are just a wooden bench, which is fine and great and it does its job. But we go to like these other schools and they've got these great dugouts and the kids just think it's awesome. I mean, there's something about a dugout that's just like baseball. You know, it's like walking into a stadium. You're like, oh, this is baseball. But, so anyway, aside from that, at least just bleachers, those aluminum bleachers that we can move, like I said, between the different fields for our spectators to be able to have a place to sit and watch the game. That was my hope for those. The portable picnic tables, there's a couple of different options, as you saw, that we were looking at, but these like square rectangular ones that have the built-in benches. This is kind of, for me, this isn't necessarily for a specific sport or a specific season. This is really looking at this entire space that we're creating at the land of the school that is leased to the school. We've got these walking trails, we've got the fields, we're updating the playground area, and I just thought it would be really nice to be able to have some places to be able to sit when you go there, you know, and you're having a picnic with your kids instead of sitting on the ground, which is also fun. But to be able to provide some picnic tables that aren't going to rot out in a couple of years. These are thermoplastic coated, and so they are resilient to the weather. They're not something that we're going to want to be, you know, putting into storage for the winter because they're not going to make it. And so that was where we found ourselves trying to pick out some really good resilient tables and benches. And then, you know, updating sports equipment, shirts, that kind of thing. That was a line item I put in there, about 1,000. There's just always, it kind of feeds back into, that's what we would normally be spending the money that we're taking in for registration. We would be spending it on updating new shirts for the teams every couple of years. You know, just normal wear and tear on the sports equipment that we're using. And shelving for the rec shed, that was another item I put in there. There's just some basic, really heavy duty metal shelving that if I could just put 2 more units, because there is currently 1 shelving unit in the rec shed that holds totes, that has our shirts for our different season. But if you try and walk in there, you know, we've got those mesh net bags. And because we are for so many different age groups, we've got, you know, 2 mesh net bags full of soccer balls for one age group, and then 2 more for soccer balls for another age group, and then more that are basketball balls, and then more nets for other basketball, and then all of our baseball. And as much as I try to keep it organized, I just keep thinking, I'm like, man, if I just had some more shelving, then I can just have some shelves for each season. So that's where these the shelving for the rec shed came in at $760, those metal shelving. So I tried to prioritize and explain these big items for you. I hope that was sufficient. I have no idea what the cost of resurfacing a soccer field would be, and I'm really sorry that I don't have better information for that. It was something that Keith had talked about, Keith Marshall. He not only is the coach for our middle school soccer, and he's also done the coaching for our rec kids for years. And then he also plays on a men's league that plays on our soccer field. And it's just apparently progressively the field is settled and it's just a really hard field. So what he was saying was that it would be, I want to say tilled. That's what you do to a garden. I doubt that's what you do to a whole soccer field. But basically the dirt would be turned up. There would be a fresh layer of whatever they put down, you know what I'm trying to say. And so I don't know the cost of that right now. We know everything's really expensive, so I'm sure the cost would be like $30,000 or something crazy. But, and I don't know if that's all our cost either, or would be, because we share, the middle school uses that as their field, and so I don't know how much that feeds into a school expense. But that was, I apologize. So that was something that was on Keith's wish list, so we included it, but I don't have a price for it.
Okay. How would we find out? What would be a good way of finding out that cost? Do you have any idea?
Oh, you'd probably have to get in touch with a contractor or something, you know.
Yeah. Do you have a suggestion for who might do something like that around here? Is it anyone with equipment?
I,
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
getting in touch with, Brattleboro, whoever manages their
I
field.
was just saying, you could ask others, like the
Yeah.
high school who manages their soccer
Right.
field.
Right. Is there, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.
We hope you'll come to the community picnic on September 12th.
September 11th,
11.
September.
Sunday, 3 till 6.
Right.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
thank you.
Okay, so,
So you did prioritize
Yeah.
these quite nicely. So
Yeah, you did, we appreciate that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
You sort of put it into four,
yeah.
categories, and
yep,
that's helpful.
Okay,
Yeah.
very helpful.
good. And I absolutely can find out, get an idea of what that cost to resurface the soccer field would be.
Well, if it needs to be done, this is a great time
Yeah,
to do it.
okay. There was, there's that, coming, sorry, how do I say it? There's that balance of asking for what you need and then feeling like you're being ungrateful and asking for too much. And so I would never want to come across like we're taking advantage of funds that are available to us by asking too much. But at the same time, if the opportunity truly is there to make some really substantial improvements, I would be more than happy to do the legwork that it takes to make that happen. And so if we are interested and willing to get some more prices, then I can certainly make that happen.
Right, I sort of feel like this is a windfall that the town received, and it's not, when we decide to, buy a new backhoe, it's thinking about, okay, how is this going to affect our, my property taxes and your taxes? And
Right.
this is coming out of a different pocket that
Yeah,
won't be reflected in our property tax bills.
right.
So I like your attitude.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
me too.
Okay,
I think we can consider, a different mindset than we usually use.
okay. Okay, great.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for bringing me in. Do you have a time reference for when you're trying to make decisions and wrap things up by?
No, we don't.
Okay.
But I think, we'll talk about this.
Sure.
And it could be as early as in 2 weeks, we could have some.
I see,
Some
okay,
ideas, yeah,
okay,
some decisions,
sure,
that way, yeah.
okay,
And you can get going,
Okay.
provided.
The next, this next week, or this week, next week, we should have the next ARPA payment in. So we'll have the second installment.
great,
So one question I have,
Yes.
the electricity, the wiring to the shed,
yes,
and you said that the school would split it 50%. Have
yes,
they actually agreed to that?
yes.
They have,
They
okay.
have.
So is the 2,300 here half, or is
The-
it still split another 50%?
That's, 2,300 is our half.
Is
Okay.
Okay.
So J. King Electric said it would be 4635.
Okay, so this is a true
Yes,
number
true
for
number,
us?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And then on the portable picnic tables, how many tables will that buy?
Well, it's kind of falls under the didn't want to ask too much category, so.
okay, that wasn't one of the, there we
So-
go.
It's a-
We did, the price for one is about $1,500 or 14, depending on the size that you're going for.
Oh, okay. So this is one,
This is just
Yes.
one.
that's one,
That's one picnic table.
okay.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? I don't know what the skating rink cost was, but is anything built into it for maintenance on the skating rink?
So that's great. There is some, the cost that was presented was just the cost of the rink, which does come with some systems to be able to maintain it. But it is no long-term maintenance costs are not built into that at this time.
So that would be your volunteers?
Any other questions? Maeve, thank you very much for coming in.
Appreciate it,
Really-
Maeve. Thank you.
Yeah, really helpful. Thank you for your work.
Yes, that was very detailed, Maeve. I appreciate that.
I'm like, I don't know what more do you want?
Oh,
I'm
you-
happy to talk.
Let me get that information.
Yeah.
No, we really appreciate it, because you can obviously see that you are really vested in working on this board.
Yeah,
And I hope you can get some volunteers.
thank you. I hope so too.
Just have them give us a buzz if they want
Yes.
to join.
Yes, absolutely. Great.
Great. Thank you, Maeve.
Have a good night.
All right.
Enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Okay, great. Okay, well, let's see. Road foreman's report.
Oh, yes.
Any FEMA?
No FEMA updates.
Okay.
Um,
Sorry. This-
Let's see, they are working on, Camp Arden Road, so yeah, it would be a FEMA type thing. They have the bypass road was in, and Belco was supposed to start back up on today to start working on Camp Arden Road.
Yep.
Was the update on that. They're just working on roadside mowing, grading, cleaning culverts. And Lee's been working on with Charlotte to upload all the, I'll say it, hydraulics,
Hydraulics?
yeah, hydraulics, whatever, for this, that has to be in the state database. Is that, so that's what they've been up to.
Okay, great. Okay. Any other road? I see they're putting down some chloride as they
Yes, they did do,
are
yep.
grading some roads now to protect from a little bit of rain. Okay, any,
We need to, sign the grant and agreement.
Yep.
okay. Do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion to sign the FY '23 grant and aid agreement.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, and that just needs one signature.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Is there anything under correspondence for information that you'd like to discuss? Okay, under new business, update on speeding, East West Road?
Yeah, we finally got the, did you guys all see the data on that, speed? So basically, it's low.
Yeah.
They had the one real busy car, so, she had also written in another letter, regarding the speed on the corner. It is set on 35. It's got a cautionary 25 as you come from Slab Hollow up. But, I mean, that's what we have in our ordinance. I don't really see with the low speed above it. And that's taking the direction of speed both ways. So up and down. So
Yeah.
I can't see,
Not much improvement.
There's not a whole lot of improvement. I mean, I did have this, I got the complaint about Slab Hollow again. There is problems down there. When you get down into
Yeah.
Slab Hollow, we've had the survey on that, and I said, can you just do it? But I think at this point, based on the data, and I would just say we pretty much do regular patrols like they do. I mean,
Yeah.
and I can let her know, you know, we just don't have the data to back it up. Would you on Slab Hollow?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, well, that's why we did the,
yeah. Yeah,
Well, might not be what she wants to hear.
it
but-
might not be what she wants to hear, but I just, you know, and I'll send her the data with it, but I figured at least we'd have a time to discuss it with the board before I send it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, all right, I'll email her back.
Great, thank you, Terry. Let's see, the efficiency Vermont assessment. They came and looked at the town office, town garage. And Eric Linebeck from the Energy Committee went with them. I'm not sure, I guess, you know, they have some recommendations as ballast wear out, they be replaced with LEDs. And, I'm not sure there's something we should be doing on this tomorrow.
Is any of that something that the lighting at the highway garage, is that something he should be considering through the ARPA funds?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, and they suggested a formal audit for this building.
Mhm.
Different electric, water heater, considering, you know, how much, what sort of usage it might get, and its ballast begin to fail here.
And a lot of that was included, that the community center is considering
Yeah.
for ARPA funding.
Yes, and
Yeah.
they were saying also, heat pumps, they're here, the mini splits were here.
Right.
Yeah, and that's.
Right, they were already looking into that, and they had
were-
already put the hot water heater on the
Oh, great.
list.
Okay,
And they had put the, lighting on the list.
Yes, they did.
Yes,
Here.
because it's actually gonna take more than just do the lighting. It was like, I think I got, well, I got
is it
the,
wiring also?
yes, it's wiring, because I've got it right here.
Yeah.
I think it was like
39,000.
39,000, that's what I was thinking, it was in the 30s to do the lighting, and yeah. So now it's just a question of, I think maybe as they go along here and figure out what they're doing, to see now what, I don't know. Really interesting
Yes, with the change. and-
with
Yeah,
the change and
yeah.
everything, I think it really, I don't know,
Then I think Lee should definitely, I mean,
yeah.
if they're recommending different lighting in the, was it in the, just the bays, if I remember right from what I read? I mean, the opportunity with the ARPA funds is there to upgrade lighting.
Right.
Mhm.
I would really definitely have it put into that, and the other thing is too, on the town office, I don't think, we haven't addressed the back guano.
Okay,
Oh, my goodness.
We haven't put, so with that, that would need, insulation, blown-in insulation, so that would even help it even more. But we haven't put that through our, for the ARPA.
okay, that wasn't included in what we did last year.
Was it? Yeah, was it? I thought it was, Was it?
I thought so.
did I miss it? Did we?
We,
Is it in the minutes for?
Let's see.
Minutes. Let's check the minutes.
Let's check-
Cleanup and insulation is, they've requested that under the.
Yeah, but what did we actually pull through?
Yeah.
Town office, no, just the
No,
computer.
just the firewall, floor, and the signage. So we haven't hit the back guano or the blown in.
Oh,
Is it because we were waiting on a closer estimate?
Or maybe, because the last estimate was a couple of years ago.
It was
Yeah.
like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll check with them on how that's coming along.
Yeah, both the blown in
Yep.
and the, because that would be two separate projects. But being one, well, not really, it's, well, sort of, well, however they wanna do it. Yep.
Are they looking at the two mini splits? Remember they put in 30,000 for that, but we thought that
Yeah.
seemed excessive.
It came to 81, 60,
Oh,
83.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we just pushed that one forward tonight.
Oh, that's right, yes.
Right,
Yeah.
don't worry about it, David, it's just, it's heat and humidity, it's like, do not worry about it. Completely get it.
Okay, so, I'll talk with Lee on that, and the town office, so I'll probably
Okay.
help with that. And I'll talk to the energy committee if they want to be helpful with this. Okay. All right, great. Anything more on that? Okay, zoning welcome letter.
Okay, I had talked to, I don't know if everybody's read it.
Yeah.
I just had a quick word with Roger, and he had kind of thought about it last year. Because, there's so many new people, and then there's coming from different areas, or no zoning. And I think with a new flux in, he just thinks it might be a good idea to send that letter around.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want me to let Roger know that
Yeah, would you?
appreciated the letter, yeah, the letter's good to go.
Good. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, errors and omission certificate on the listers.
I'll make a motion to approve the errors and omission certificate from the listers.
One second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. And, well, here we come to ARPA again with updates and discussion.
So so we will be getting our next check, the county will come behind that. And I've got to meet a conference call in tomorrow with Katie Buckley at 9 o'clock, because Charlotte sent over some questions, but then it arose more questions.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna actually just have a conference call with Katie to see if we can refine this a little bit better as to what's going on. Yeah.
Okay.
So, because I think it'll answer some of what you may have for questions
Right.
of how you send the invoices, or who pays for it, or is that some of what yours?
Who even signs the contract? We got a proposal now from Foreman for the installation. And
Okay,
he tells us that the contract needs to be signed and 50% needs to be paid so we can be put on the list
Okay.
to have the work
Okay.
done. So, the billing is sent to the Dummerston Historical Society. So, as opposed to the town of Dummerston. So I'm not even sure who the billing should be sent to, actually.
all right, so the contract needs 50% down.
But who signs the contract?
I think the way I read that,
Yeah.
the Historical
They
Society.
would be doing it because you've been given an authorization for us
Okay.
to move ahead
Okay,
on that. In terms of the 50%, that would be, in order to get this,
yeah.
you've got to go through the town office, the treasurer.
Well, to do what?
If you need are you saying that, see, this is the issue. Farnham needs 50% up front before he'll start,
A deposit, right.
right?
Yeah.
So then you'd have to get a check from Charlotte for the
Right.
50%.
So we sign the contract and we'll send it to him. We'll give Charlotte a copy of the contract. Is she maintaining a file for every group on all the
No, I
contracts?
think.
I'm,
I'm
I'm not asking for a definite answer now.
I think it would be better to send, you're gonna have to send Charlotte a copy to get the money.
Yeah,
But I think I would also email it to the board and I'll start keeping my own file.
Okay, and you guys should keep.
oh,
And
yeah,
you should
yeah,
keep
we'll
it.
keep everything
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we know that, but it's the process on all of this that we're ready to move ahead. Let me throw out one other question.
Yeah.
You approved several things for the Historical Society and each of them were under $10,000.
Right,
So we get a billing from Farnham showing the total billing for $11,245 because he combines everything, as opposed to 3 stages. Should I ask Charlotte, talk with Charlotte and ask if she wants to just take each of these segments and issue 3 different checks? Or,
How
Yeah.
about you just get
Yeah.
Farnham to give you,
Three
3
invoices.
different,
invoices for the
Invoices.
work,
Yep.
and ask Charlotte then for 3 50% checks.
Yep.
To start the work,
yeah, for each
each
project.
project. Okay, so I'm sure you're gonna have other questions like this coming up with various groups.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
But we're ready to move
see
ahead.
if we
Um,
have different answers for you
Yeah.
next week.
Now,
Now
so-
Charlotte also says she's not the one to vet the contractors.
Right, that's one of the questions I have for Katie.
Okay,
Okay, how this works, because I think it'd just be better for me to discuss it with Katie
Okay.
first
okay,
and then come up with an answer.
all right.
Because under that purchasing policy stuff, we are under federal guidelines on that. So there's where I'm not quite sure. I'm thinking one thing, let me get the real answer.
Okay, that would be
I
good,
think that would be really good.
okay.
And we're also trying to figure out with Katie Buckley if Charlotte is going to write the check out to the Historical Society and then you pay the contractor, or if we're gonna pay the contractor. So I think as it stands, Charlotte thinks that one check will be written, or multiple checks in this case, will be written to the Historical Society and then you will pay Farnham.
Okay,
But we still gotta get that clarified.
We gotta get that clarified, because it
Through
just
the
means
LCT.
that accounting, it means that different types of accounting,
right.
and that's another question.
So
That sounds good. And then last week, 2 weeks ago, when you were talking about mini splits and Zeke jokingly made the comment as Chuck and I were sitting here, well, isn't this Historical Society? Don't you want one too? And we were both taken back by it. Several people on our board watched the Selectboard meeting and said, why did you say yes? But I will tell you that when we went through our priority list, we had about 10 things and we really limited it down because we didn't know how much money was going to be available. We already had gotten some estimates and we just decided to hold off for now because we didn't know where things were going to play out. We are going to get clearer estimates and probably put in a request for mini split, which would be probably in the range between $4,000 and $8,000. And I'm just forewarning you that this will be forthcoming and it will be into you within the next 2 weeks.
Okay,
So,
Great. Give us something to do.
that's right,
yeah. And then I have to say with Maeve, that what a breath of sunshine.
exactly.
Yeah, Energy Plus and really committed.
Yeah.
So thank you again, and we'll look forward to hearing more clear information that,
Right, I will
yeah.
be disseminating it to the board and Charlotte after I get done with my conference call in the morning.
And it's worthwhile, because everybody's gonna need it. You're gonna get all these questions coming
It
up.
is, and it's, yeah,
Thank you.
thank you, Gail.
Okay, other discussion about the ARPA. What did you think about the recreation?
Yeah, well,
Wow.
You know,
maybe we can get them started on some of these.
yeah,
The top priority, their number one was shed electricity and the ice skating rink.
Yeah.
And that would seem to to get that rolling before the winter, before the
Sure.
Right.
Even, I was kind of skeptical about a lot of these items, but when she explained them,
Yeah.
I'm on board for soccer goals.
Yeah.
Let's see, the, the money, the updates for uniforms and wear and tear, I guess because I haven't had other, their usual fees coming in, I could see taking care of that. That was the most convincing argument for shelving that I think I've ever heard.
I know, that was a really good one. I thought that was,
That deserves.
that deserved that. I do agree with you on that. Okay, so we're on the wire, electricity, the rec shed, the shelving, and the update the sports equipment.
Yep. Soccer goals, what do you think?
Yeah, well, they need them
They need it.
to play soccer.
Yeah, dugouts.
Dugouts,
She
I
made a good
She
try.
made a good plea on it, but it didn't quite make
No,
it for
no, it
me,
didn't.
okay?
Yeah.
I kinda get the bleacher thing, but I mean, then again, a lot of people bring their own chairs. I'm on the fence
Yeah.
on that one.
Me too.
And the picnic table, I think
That's a,
that's a lot for one table. I think,
Yeah.
In the ideal world, that's one thing, but I mean,
Yeah.
you can get a lot of picnic tables.
Yeah.
I know.
And even if they rot, you.
Yeah, I know.
I agree.
So,
Yeah.
so I think that's the one thing on the list that, and the dugouts are for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally, yep.
Yeah.
So it leaves us one thing besides the resurfacing, which we don't have a number, is the ice skating rink for,
Yeah, I'm good with the ice skating.
Yeah, I think we should have an ice skating rink. This is after all Vermont, We do have winters.
What was the estimate?
6485, 6400.
Oh, 6,400.
Yeah.
And it can be reused, it's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're down a member here. Gail, do you wanna?
Yeah, you wanna think, well, let's look at it this way. We're looking at 2,300 for the shed,
Yeah.
for the electricity. Okay, so 45, so you got it 68 if you have the soccer goals.
Mhm.
And then we've got,
Bleachers.
did we do the bleachers? I thought we did.
Well,
No,
I was
we
on
said
the
that
fence.
Oh,
we
you're
were on the fence. We haven't done the bleachers.
Okay.
So what I say, 68, so it's around 76 if you have the shelving. And then 1,000 more, 86 for the update the sports equipment. So we're at 86 and we're on the fence with the bleachers. And if you added the permanent skating rink, it would really bring it to
15,000.
roughly around 15,000.
I'm good with that.
I'm good with the rink?
Yep.
Okay.
I am.
All right, so for the next meeting, I'm gonna include the wiring, soccer goals, shelving, updated sports equipment, and the ice skating rink.
You got it.
Okay. Yes.
And if you don't obligate all the money this year, if you wait and obligate
Right.
some of it next spring or
Yeah.
summer,
That's right.
you see how they develop a committee to really carry out some of this and what the use is, and then you can do more. Because so many organizations are struggling with people to carry out what their
That's-
mission is,
yeah.
so.
And we as a town are, I was gonna mention it, and I'm glad you brought it up, Gail, because, I put the article in the Views of Dummerston, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Has anybody on the board gotten any response back? Zero. Absolutely, and it was like, wow,
Yeah.
We'll put it on Front Porch Forum again.
Okay.
if it hasn't been in. And you could do that once a week for several weeks, just to really make the impact and see what you get out of it. You're not gonna lose anything by trying.
Yeah, you wanna do that, Zeke? Are you gonna- Yeah.
Sure, I just posted,
I know, I saw the duck, I'm on it, but I've never posted, I don't post.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the duck going down Route 5, so, did you find the owner of the duck?
no,
No, you still got the duck?
as of a little while ago.
Okay.
I don't think so. Someone thought they could provide a good home.
Oh, good.
Where I hadn't heard from anyone else. I thought, well, this would be a good home.
Home for it, you've got the, okay.
Yeah, it's too
Yep.
skinny to eat, so.
So, well, all right.
Okay.
Is there any other ARPA requests that we want to include next time?
I guess, okay, let's see. I'll see if I can get the bat and insulation in
Yeah.
town clerk. I don't think I've done a good job of presenting the case for digitalizing the records.
Not for me, but.
Okay, all right, so I'll keep working on that. Let's see. Eric Weinbeck wrote about a request for a fund to help people who might need help with connecting to the internet.
There's a match involved in it, I
Yeah, I
believe.
think, yeah.
5,500
there's
was the match, yeah.
some vetting of it, that was an issue for me before. How would we decide who gets it? But apparently, is it the Deerfield Valley would take care of that?
Yeah, and I guess they've already figured out, based on the little drawings there.
For me, all the other projects are something that affect the town as a whole. This
Yeah.
request is affecting individuals, and as much as I can sympathize with them, and that they're having trouble connecting or getting, high-speed internet, I guess for me personally, I would rather see our projects be able to affect a more broader spectrum of the community.
I have to agree with that.
So that goes back into the pot.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
I mean, if we get all said and done, we still have funding and,
Yeah. I mean, the match won't be there, but what,
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
it's,
Right.
but yeah,
Okay. So we'll keep that one on the shelf.
keep that one on the shelf.
Other than that, I can't think of any.
Okay.
Have you?
I can't,
No, because we're still
No.
waiting for a lot of stuff from this building.
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that'll make a difference.
Mhm.
Okay,
Good.
all right. Do we want to discuss, we haven't received a formal request, but the Historical Society, I understand, wants a mini split.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
well,
We would have a specific estimate into you by the next meeting. If you
Sure,
find
yeah.
with us the
If
way
it
that
was
you want.
before the next meeting, yeah, so we could include it.
Yeah.
Well, let's bring it up at our
Yeah.
next meeting.
let's do it at the next meeting, yeah,
Yeah.
just give us
And we'll
the,
have figures too more.
yeah,
specific.
email us the
Yeah.
board, the figures, when you get
We'll
them.
do.
Yeah, and then we can do it that way, yeah,
Thank you.
so it'll be on the next one.
Good. Thank you.
At least we'll vote on it.
We'll, yeah, we'll vote.
Yeah.
We'll vote.
This isn't a done deal.
It's not a done deal.
I
At least we'll have them.
Nothing
Yes.
until it's formally voted on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I can't think of anything else.
Nope, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
No liquor commission?
No, and nothing.
No, I was gonna say, did I miss something? I mean, this heat must have really gotten to me.
Thank you, and we'll be looking forward to information in the next week or two.
Oh, it'll be
When you
before then, yeah.
What is Katie Bahari's title, or what agency is she with?
She just runs ARPA. She
Oh.
just did for VLCT.
Just runs ARPA.
Yeah, well, see, that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's so complicated.
Yeah, I know it is.
But that's all right.
Take this.